So now let us work on this exercise on Z index, overflow, float and the clear properties in CSS. So guys, you can pause this video and practice on your own and complete all these tasks in this particular exercise so that you get the better understanding on all these CSS properties. So we are going to follow the below steps to complete the practice exercise. First of all, we will create the two div elements, that is div1 and div2 IDs with the background colors and some padding. So guys, let us move to the VS Code over here. So simply I'm going to remove the previous lines of code that we had written in the HTML and the CSS files over here, and simply we are going to create the two div elements with the ID div1 and div2. So guys, over here we have the div1 and we are going to provide the text that is div1 over here, and similarly we will have the ID with the div2 for another div tag, and we will say that the text is div2 in this case. And after this we are going to move to the style.css file over here. Simply we are going to provide the ID that is div1 by providing the hash character followed by the ID that is div1 over here. We will provide the background color. So let's say we have the background color as yellow, and guys, for all the div tag we want the padding. So let's say we simply provide the div tag over here, and inside the curly braces we will have the padding of 5 pixels in this case. So guys, basically this padding of 5 pixels will be applied to all the div tags over here, and the background colors will be separately applied based on the ID of the div tag. So over here we have the second div that is div2 over here, and then again we will have the background color, and let's say we have the background color of aqua. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page on the browser. So as you can see, we have div1 and div2 getting displayed on the web page. Now guys, let us move to another task. Over here we have position the div2 above div1 with relative position and applying left and bottom properties. So guys, basically we have to move the second div above the first div over here by using the relative position. So guys, what we can do is, for this div2 we will set the position as relative this time. So over here we say position is equal to relative, and we will say left it is equal to 20 pixels. So guys, basically we want certain spacing from the left and the bottom as well, so that this second div element can be displayed on top of this first div element over here. So let's say we provide the left property with the spacing of 30 pixels. So we say 30 pixels, and from the bottom as well we provide some spacing. So let's say 20 pixels of spacing is provided over here from the bottom. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, we have the div1 now getting displayed behind this particular div2 element. So guys, this happened because from the normal position of the div2 we have slightly moved it or positioned it from the left and the bottom with these numbers that we have specified in the CSS file over here. And apart from this, since we have defined the second element after the first element, and that is the reason why div2 is getting displayed on top of the div1. So guys, we have completed the second task as well, that is position the div2 above div1 with relative position and applying left and bottom properties. Now guys, we need to get the div1 above div2 using the Z index property. So guys, over here what we have to do is, at the same position we want to display div1 on top of this particular div2. So what we can do is, simply inside the style.css file, for this div1 we can provide the Z index property. So over here when we provide the Z index, by default the Z index of div2 is 0. So we want to provide a number that is greater than 0 for this Z index of the first div element. So over here we will provide the Z index of 1. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, there is no change right now. We were expecting that div1 should come on top of div2. So guys, why there is no change? Because we have not provided the position property for the first div. So guys, Z index property will not work for the position is equal to static value, which is the default value for the position attribute, and by default the position value is now having the static value for this first div element. So simply we can say position is equal to relative this time, so that we are positioning this particular first div element as well. Let me just save this this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser now to see whether the Z index is effective this time. So when we reload this page, as you can see, div1 with the yellow background color is now getting displayed on top of the div2, which has now gone behind over here. So guys, let us reduce certain spacing from the bottom for the div2 element so that we can see certain text over here for the second div element. So let's say we provide the 12 pixel spacing from the bottom. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page. So as you can see, div2 is still getting displayed behind of this particular div1 element. So guys, in this way we have used the Z index property. Always remember that it should have the position property as well whenever you are using the Z index property, and the value of the position property should be anything other than static value. Now guys, apart from this, let us create div3 with 40% width and 100 pixels height with random text that will overflow. So guys, let us check this as well. So over here, after the second div, let us create another div over here with div3 id, and let's say we create some generate text over here by using the lorem emmet abbreviation. So over here we have generated certain random text. So let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, we have another div element over here. Now guys, in the same task, we want this div element to be having the width of 40% and height of 100 pixels. So let us set that as well. So inside the style.css file, we will say div3, which is the id of this third div element, and for this third div we want the width of 40% this time as per the task over here. So we have the width of 40% and height is 100 pixels. So over here we will say height, it is equal to 100 pixels this time, and apart from this, the random text will overflow. So guys, we will also have the background color. So let's say we have the background color of coral value over here. So let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, we have the 40% width for this third div element and the height of 100 pixel. But guys, by default we have the overflow value as visible this time. So basically the text is going outside of this container. So guys, we have completed the task, but the text is still going outside of this particular container, that is the div tag. So what we will do is we will move to the other task, that is use the overflow property to create scroll bar for this div3 element. So guys, what we will do is, since this particular text is going outside of the container, simply we can use the overflow property and have the scroll bar on this particular container so that entire text is limited to be displayed within this particular container. So guys, let us provide this overflow property over here inside the style.css file. So over here we will say overflow property, and this time we will say scroll over here. So basically a horizontal scroll bar will be displayed. We can also use the value of auto over here for the overflow property. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. As you can see, we have the vertical scroll bar over here, and this is the way that we can use the overflow property in order to make the extra text fit inside the container that is having the limited width and height over here. Now guys, apart from this, let us move to the other task, that is to create the div 4 and 5 that should float left and right respectively. So guys, what we will do is we will create more two div tags over here inside the HTML file. So after this div 3, we will have div 4. So let's create the fourth div with the id div 4 over here, and we will say div 4 this time, and again we will create another div with the id that is div 5 over here. So we have created div 4 and div 5 as well. We will also apply the background colors for this div 4 and div 5. So let us do that as well. So we say div 4 with the background color. So let's provide some background color over here. So we will provide the color as yellow green, and for div 5 as well we will provide some other color this time. So guys, over here we use the background color, and let me just see what can be the value. So we will use some light value over here. So let's say we use this particular color for the background color. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, we have both the divs that are getting displayed, but guys, we want both these divs to be displayed on the left and on the right respectively by using the float property over here. So both the divs should float on the left and the right side of the screen. So guys, what we can do is simply we can provide the float property for the div 4 element. So over here we will say float, it is equal to left, and for the div 5 element we can say float, it is equal to right this time. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, we have div 4 on the left and div 5 on the right, and that is how we can use the float property in order to make the HTML elements position on any side of the screen, on the left or the right of the screen. Now guys, let us move to another task. We will create another div, that is div 6, that should be displayed below div 4 and div 5. So let us create another div tag over here. So basically we are going to create another div tag for which the ID should be 6 this time and the value will be div 6 over here. Let us see how this will be displayed by default without providing any position. So in the style.css, simply we are going to provide the background color for this sixth div element. So over here we will say div 6 and then let's say we provide the background color and we will use this particular color over here as the background color this time. Let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So as you can see, div 6 element by default is getting displayed to the right of div 4 and to the left of div 5. But guys, based on our task, we want to display the div 6 below the div 4 and the div 5 element. So how this can be done? We can use the clear property since we have already used the float property for the div 4 and div 5. So since the div 6 element is the next element to the div 4 and div 5 elements, we need to use the clear property over here in order to get this sixth div element on the next line. So guys, what we can do is simply we will say clear and then we will have the value as both. So let me just save this file now and try reloading this page once again on the browser. So now as you can see, div 6 is getting displayed below this div 4 and div 5 respectively, and this is how we can use the float and clear properties as well. If we provide the left value over here, let us check what will happen. So when we save this file now and try reloading this page, so there is no change right now, and with the value that is right as well, probably there will be no change over here. So guys, basically the important thing is to make use of this clear property after we have used the float property on any of the HTML elements to make the other, that is the next HTML elements, appear on their original position. So guys, in this way we have completed all these tasks in our exercise over here. So comment in the comment section below whether you have learned something out of this video. Please make sure that you like this video so that it reaches to more people, and subscribe to this channel so that you get the notifications on upcoming videos as well. The next video that we are going to talk about is horizontal and vertical align in CSS. So stay tuned.